Lesson 111, page 345, is about commission and profit. I can't think about a more relevant to your life type of lesson than this one, talking about how salespeople, like car salesmen or paper salesmen or most salespeople, make money and are motivated to sell the way that they do. And then also how businesses calculate what they've profited in the end. It's all very logical information that, if you just think about it, is interesting and makes sense, and it all relates a lot to everyday life, especially if you ever think about selling things for a job or helping to run a business for a job. So let's start with the term commission. Is spelled COMMISSION. Commission is a percentage of a salesperson's sales. For example, let's say Bob's commission for selling cars is a whole 10%. That's pretty good for selling cars, which means every time he sells a car, he makes 10% of what that car was, sold for. So you sell a car for $26,000. And he makes 10% of that back as his commission. What is his commission? 10% of 26,000 is the same as saying 0.1 times 26,000, which comes out to 2,600, right? Just take one of these zeros away. That's his commission. Now, he also would have made a salary, but the salary is usually smaller. It's lower than you would hope because you expect this. It's like when you work in a restaurant, your hourly wage is probably lower than the average person. It's lower than minimum wage usually in Wisconsin because you expect tips. Tips are kind of like commission, except they're not set by a percentage this way. So if I said that Bob also made a base salary of $300 a month, and he sold one car where he made this much that month, well, let's add on his $300, which comparison obviously means very little. It's all about selling the car. That's why they get excited about it. That's why they'll do anything to make you buy it. You add it up to find out his total wage that month, $2,900. That's his paycheck, and then of course you got to take out the dreaded taxes. But I don't think the book is going to make you deal with that quite yet. All right, let's try one more. That followed the example on page 345. Practice A says a sales representative receives a base salary of $274 a month. 274. You can show that as month per month. 7% commission on all sales. We don't know what they're selling, but we know that they also make 7% commission. If she sold $20,000, this is how you would maybe show your work. $20,000. Commission on that would be 7%. How much money total did they make that month? So make sure you've got your 274 and you're adding on whatever this will come out to be. Oops, sorry. Not sure what's going on. Stuff is disappearing in front of us, but it was 20,000. So find this amount, taking 7% out, right? So 0.7 times, and put that over here to find total wage for that month. All right, and show me that answer. Now let's also talk about profit. As a business person, you'll always want to know, what kind of profit are you making each month? It's not about what you sold, it's about what you made. Because a store owner, for example, has got to pay overhead is the word. That's a good term for us too. Overhead is the things you need just to run the business. You know, you got your water bill, you got your rent, employees' salary, insurance is a big one we forget about, and other different costs. Markup will help us, we learned about that one, will help us defray from that. Markup is good. That's where we make money. Overhead is not so good. That's where we lose money. what you have after all of this is called your your profit. So profit is found by taking this and subtracting this. So I'm going to turn off the touch capabilities. I think that's part of my problem. Let's try looking at 111.2. Store owner marks up merchandise 40%. So the markup is going to be 40%. Meanwhile, expenses, overhead, $5,200. Those are just the expenses of having the business. It's not free to have a building and employees. If she paid $16,000 for the goods sold in 1 month, what was her profit? So she paid $16,000 to have, let's say, the clothing she sold. Let's say she sold all of it and she made 40% markup. So how much did she make in markup? How do I solve that? 0.4, remember this, times 16,000. Or you could do 40 over 100 and do it that way too. This equals 0.4 times 16,000, according to the book, is 6,400. What is that number? That's her markup profit. Now, that will be more than what she actually makes because of her expenses for having the business. So in that month, we must do something with that number. And what do we do with it? We need to subtract it. Take it away. We come out with a total of, see, this is very logical. What I make in markup against what I spend on overhead. They don't deal with markdown yet, but they might get that involved at some point. Let me know if you have any questions. Practice B will have you simply change this to 200,000. Markup of only 4%. Expenses 5,500. So I'm guessing that's going to come out to about twice as much profit. I'll let you find out. Remember, you're solving for the profit, labeling it in dollars. All right, best of luck. Let me know if you have any questions or comments.